Hey guys, assalamu alaikum. Happy, beautiful Wednesday. It is Mama with Autism. Today I have a special guest that is going to share some really great information with you guys and myself. But first, I just wanted to give you guys some little quick fun updates. I don't think I've done a live in a while, but um, since the last live, my baby girl is now going to first grade. She has been making like amazing progress in a lot of different areas, and I am simply enjoying all of it because in a ironic way, it's like I'm getting another experience, right, of being a mother because some things are very new. But yeah, so tonight I'll be sharing as well, but we will also be getting some very important information, facts, views, and don't forget, guys, this is an open dialogue conversation. Feel free to send a question if you have any. Um, I'm gonna have our guest join while we wait. Mm-mm. Hey, oh, hey.
Hi.
I was hoping Instagram didn't glitch today, like it usually does.
So this is actually my first
Yeah,
time
yeah. I've
going.
never actually went live on TikTok, so I didn't know what I was doing, so I left it alone. I thought about going live there, but I'll just share it there later. But hi, happy, beautiful Wednesday. I'm super excited for this conversation. Just because even our brief conversation is just there's a lot of eye-opening things there. So, you guys, for my followers, you know who I am. Um, so I'm going to allow Tabby to introduce herself, and then we're going to go into sharing. Before we start with a lot of the facts, we're just going to share like our experience individually. I'll let you do most of that because most of my followers already heard my story, but I'll piggyback off
Right.
of some well. But the floor is yours. And guys, feel free to ask questions. I will try my best to catch them as they're coming up in the comments and share them.
No problem. So hi, I'm Tabby from Autism. I am the original content creator for the Detox Bath. Um, Autism is what it sounds like. Was created um, just for a safe community of autism moms to share their experience and knowledge. And yeah, pretty much.
Is it?
I have a baby right here
Is
if you guys
it?
see him. So
Right. So tell us, tell us your journey. Tell us your story. Tell us when it began. How did you handle it? How did you move forward with it? And how did we get here to all to be?
oh, okay. Well, when I started, I literally just started so I have a TikTok and my son had a TikTok. I'm gonna say had in past tense. So what is odd to be now is his TikTok. And I was just sharing like little mommy things on his TikTok, where you can find
Hmm.
sales, like literally just, like TikTok. You don't have a niche, you're
Yeah.
just sharing lifestyle stuff. Um, and then I think it was when he got to 18 months. Now, well, that's not fair. At 14 months, I thought
Yeah.
something was wrong. We needed swimming and gym class, and I would see every little kids. But when it really clicked, this little girl came up to me. I think she was 12 months. He was 14 at the time. I'm sorry. And she came up to me and she looked straight in my eyes, and she said, "Hi." And I was like, "Oh my God, hi." And I was looking around and I was like, "My son doesn't do that. At least not anymore." We went to his doctor for 14 months. She said she's not worried. I was like, okay. At 16 months, I brought it back up to them. I'm not worried. It's okay. At 18 months is when they have to do the
Hmm.
autism screen, the M chat. He passed it. I was just like, Okay, all right. But I was just like, ugh. So around
Mhm.
20, 22 months, I was just like, okay, can I get a speech referral? Because, like, you know, I'm not
Yeah.
seeing like the other stuff, but like the speech, and everybody was in my ear, like, oh, he's gonna start talking when he's 2. You'll see, like, he'll
Right.
just start talking. You won't be able to shut him. I was like, oh, okay, but I don't feel like it hurts getting a,
Hmm.
you know, an assessment,
Yeah.
just something, you know. Set that up. That was months out, like literally, and I'm just like, okay. It's gonna take 2 months to see speech. By the time those 2 months came, or comes, he would have been 2. He got to 2,
Hmm.
still no words, nonverbal, and I'm just like, something is wrong. It was one day I was going through his little videos in my phone, and I saw a video of him talking, and I was just like, but he was talking right here, so how comes he's saying nothing? Go to grandma, baby. Go to grandma.
Right.
Go to grandma, please. Go. Grandma. Go to grandma. Look. Okay, here. Yeah. All right, go to grandma.
Nice.
Sorry about that. And so it was August of last year. That was July, August of last year. And I was like, no. So I called early intervention myself, and I was like, hey, I have a son, da da da, blah blah. They were like, sure. I didn't even know you didn't need referral for early intervention. I just
Yeah.
called because I was just so frustrated with his doctor keep saying, you know, I'm not worried. Anyway, they set it up. I was just like, okay, but it was still far out. It was probably like 6 weeks out, so it would have been in September. But I was working with it, trying to start in my research. So last summer is when my
Yeah.
research really started, and I went to a deep dive into everything. And I think that's where
Hmm.
my biomedical approach comes from. So a lot of people don't know, but I
Right.
have a different approach from a lot of moms in the autism community. I don't facilitate autism, and it
Hmm.
rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but that's fine. I'm not here to make anybody comfortable. But anyway, I started my research, joined Facebook groups. You'd be surprised how many like-minded
Yeah.
people there are out there. Joined Facebook groups, started just sharing stuff that I'm
Hmm.
finding out as I go along on TikTok, and I just started sharing with moms that were interacting with my page on TikTok. So here I was with like probably 200 and something followers on TikTok, like no lie. And it's just mom saying, "Oh, hold on, wait, I'm going through the same thing. What's going on?" You know. And mind you, these can I say the P word on Instagram? I'm not sure about the rules
I
on
think
Instagram.
so. Oh, yeah, I
Pandemic.
don't think it
Okay, okay.
does anything
I know.
to it. Yeah, you should be. I think on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure. So mind you, at this point, it's a lot of
Right.
pandemic babies. And I think all the moms like myself were just like, wait, what's going on? We're experiencing so many delays, not necessarily autism because
Right.
these kids are still young, but so many delays going on, and we're trying to find answers. But anyway, it grew into something. So I started what was called the detox bath. So I actually saw a video of somebody, it was this older lady talking about the bentonite clay. So I did my own research about the bentonite clay because she said it helped with
Hmm.
speech delay, right? So
Hmm.
this is how everything really, really started. So I was like, bentonite clay, what does it do? So I did a deep dive into, I went down so many rabbit holes. I wish on nobody, like up at 2, 3 in the morning, just, and I was just like, okay. But I know I was like, okay, so they're gonna soak in the tub, but my water isn't clean. You know, what can neutralize water? Baking soda. They use baking soda in a lot of different things for a lot of different reasons. Like, okay, let me add baking
Right.
soda because I don't have a filter yet. You know, I'm just new
Right.
mom feeling my way through. So I'm like, okay, and baking soda also has a lot of detox properties. I was like, okay, a win is a win. Let's go. And then I wanted something to like calm him down because a lot of autistic kids, especially before bed, they're sensory seeking.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like rah 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 rah. I'm like,
Yeah.
what can calm him down? And supplementing with magnesium, you put magnesium flakes or Epsom salt in the bath. So I was like, okay, I'm not too dusty when it comes to chemistry, but it feels like I can put all these together and he'll be
Right.
fine. There's a nice little mixture, right? Did it on myself. I felt so relaxed, so clear, brain fog lifted, everything. And I was just like, okay. Gave him the bath. It was obviously through trial and error, but
Right.
anyway, I was sharing it as I go along. and moms were trying it. And my mom, one of the moms was like, "Hold up," because my child started to say words. I was like, "Word," because now my son is starting to babble, and I'm just like, "Okay, so we're going
Sure.
along," and they're going, and I'm just like, more moms are like, "Hold on," because I tried this and this is happening, and I'm just like, oh. And then at the same time, my son was a picky eater, and he started to try new foods, and I'm just like, are y'all seeing the same thing? And they're like, oh yeah, we're right there with you. So it literally started with me and just like a small group of moms, and it's
Yeah.
I think word of mouth.
Because a friend of mine
Then
actually
I
sent me your
know I was
TikTok.
at,
It was a friend of mine that sent it to
I
me.
remember you told
Hmm.
me literally word of
Yep.
mouth, like, so people started to look for me, and I had all these moms say, and then it turned into not just them messaging me, but them under like my video saying stuff. So I would use the comment, because on
Right.
TikTok you can respond to a comment, and then other like, hold on, what are you guys talking about? Like, what's this recipe? I didn't even have a measurement. So when they're asking like, what's your measurement? I'm like, I just pour into something that says
Put
stop
it in
pouring.
there. Just do it.
Just try it. Don't think too much. Right. Don't think too much. Like, these are my early days. I had to fix it up though. I'm like, okay, half cup of
And to
E.
make it sound presentable.
But so
Put it together.
right. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm sharing stuff like you guys. And then it was this one mom that, because then I started detoxing with supplements, because with my son it just took a little bit more. So I was using, yeah, I'm gonna get the tea, cilantro, chlorella, and spirulina at the time, because those go deep in the body and help pull out heavy metals. I'm going to explain the heavy metals part. But so I started with those, and I noticed like a lot of improvements, and I was like, okay, we're on to something. And I'm glad I paced myself, because I
Hmm.
didn't know where I was going, so I
Yeah.
wasn't in a rush to get there.
Good. Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, overnight, like I
Right.
want him talking in sentences. So I was taking my time, and I was making sure that I did it safely, because
Yeah.
remember, these are 2 year olds, like their kidneys aren't fully developed, stuff like that. But anyway, so it was just like one. So we did the detox baths, we did the supplements, we did, so early intervention kicked in. So we started speech therapy 1 hour every week. Found this chiropractor on TikTok, and he was talking about how he helped a lot of kids go from like 50 words to like 150 with like adjustments. And I was just like, okay, add chiropractor. So I added chiropractor. My son, like, he started to improve a lot, like his eye contact. Oh,
Mm.
so eye contact came back with the baths.
Giving you eye
Like, he was actually
contact.
starting to look at me. So I was just like,
And it's so crazy
this is
before you go
major.
further into that.
Okay.
It's like I experienced the same thing too, but it was like after I stopped breastfeeding. Like before I stopped breastfeeding, I noticed how fast she was. Like
Yeah.
I would do flashcards on her, and she would like say the names of the pictures on it. She would even like
Right.
pronounce the sounds of the letters before she actually said it. Like I would show her a card if it had like the kite,
Right.
like say it was kite or something. She would go kite, like she would sound it and say it, like she was doing all of that,
On.
and
Yeah.
saying mom and like two
Yeah.
months old, and then I didn't notice it until I noticed it. Like she just like when did she stop? Like
Yeah.
ABC's counting. Like she was just
Yeah.
why did she
It's
stop doing all of
like
that all
all
of
of
a
a sudden.
sudden?
It's kind
They
of like,
explained to me the regression
when did this
is
stop?
what happened. And I always, when I heard it, I always tried to figure out, like, how does that happen? Why did that happen? Because how did she just go from moving at such a fast pace to, she didn't even crawl. She just went straight to walking. And I'm just like, yeah, she didn't crawl. She
Oh,
walked. She hated the crawl. She just
you just
walked.
got up and
Yeah.
go.
A
She was
little
like, I
bit
have
right
something
before
to
she turned one, she just got up and walked. I don't, she never crawled. So I was just like, how does that happen? Now I stopped breastfeeding when she was like a year and 6 months old because my breast milk was
say.
getting low, and then I substituted with
Mm-hmm.
the formula, which I hated. But even then, I was still giving her like natural foods. Like I was making all her foods natural. She was fine with it. And
Right.
then it's just like little by little, it just changed. Like all the stuff she was eating and like she didn't like it anymore. But even then, we still wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
grasping the fact that something more was wrong. I just took it as she's picky because I'm a picky eater. So I'm just like, maybe she's just picky. Maybe she doesn't want it.
I
Yeah.
one too, and that's
It
why I'm
wasn't
just
until she went to
like,
the
he just likes
doctors,
what he
and
likes.
I think my mom took her that time because I had to work, and so did her dad. And the doctor said, like, she's not giving eye contact. Are you sure? She's okay. She doesn't answer to her name or anything. Did you ever get her evaluated before? This time she was like 2.5. and then she had just started daycare. So my thought process was, she was still too young. She was home. She wasn't around much other children or anything like this. I thought maybe that might have been the reason too. Because how kids
Right.
are around other kids, they kind of mimic. I thought
I
that was the reason. I'm
thought,
like, she hasn't been around any other children. She's, literally just
yeah,
starting daycare. Maybe that's what it
yeah,
is. But, shortly after she started, I did call because the daycare was like, have you ever, called like early intervention or something like that? So I called and we started the process there. But then COVID happened. So then they weren't sending out any services anymore. Then she was out of daycare for like a whole year. Then I still had to wait a whole another
yeah.
year before she actually was able to go do the whole evaluation. When she did the hearing test, the girl, she is so funny. She recognized that we were trying to test her, right? So once she noticed it,
Mm-hmm.
what she did was she stopped moving when she heard the sounds because they were testing to see if she would look in the direction. And what she did, and I remember being so
Oh, right,
frustrated because I'm like, you're making these people think something is wrong with you. And I know you hear it. I knew she heard it
right.
because I could see her like jump when she heard the sound. She was like, yeah, but she wouldn't turn around. Whereas when
Oh,
it first
that,
started, she was like turning and looking. But as she noticed that the lady was monitoring her, she just stopped. And even the lady said, she's like, I think she's hearing it. I think she's just forcing herself not to turn or look in the direction for whatever the reason. She did a lot of that with some things in different tests. And I'm just like, why are you doing this? Are you doing this to be smart? Because I wasn't willing to accept that they were saying she was autistic at that moment. I'm just being honest. I wasn't willing to accept it. And a part of me just felt like she was being stubborn and she just didn't want to do it. But as time went on, you take the necessary steps, I would say. And that's her. That's I love your
yeah.
approach that you took the initiative because you thought. But for me, it was just like no, I was trying to find other answers and routes in that. But so
Mm. I mean, I had
yeah,
my don't beat yourself up. I had my moment where I was just like, ain't no way.
right, right.
Ain't no way. Like I was telling you, like none of my family members, his dad's family members, no, like we've never had to deal with this before. So it's kind of like how, because we've heard this entire time it's genetic.
So
So if you're saying it's genetic, and so
yeah,
it was, and that's why I did
yeah.
extensive research and not just go off. And this is another reason I did research. Yeah, yesterday, this is
Hmm.
the fool. I called his pediatrician, and I was like, "Hey, I've noticed an increase in him putting non-food items in his mouth. I want to, well, first and foremost, because he was chewing on a battery, I want to do a heavy metals test, and I want a neuro consult, right?" This nurse, this is a triage line, mind you. She said to me, she was, well, no, I don't think a neuroconsult would be appropriate. That's more behavioral. Neuro doesn't deal with behavioral. I said, okay, I'm gonna fight with these people. Okay.
It's so funny, and I wished I did um do a lot of research about it or whatever. But like I said, the now is a crazy thing because you don't want to unlock anything. You just don't. That's exactly where I
Yeah.
was with that. I was just like, no, she's just gonna
But like
talk.
I said, like it's like when you start unlocking stuff, it's because I was
Hmm.
frazzled. Like when I say I don't wish it on anybody, I really don't. Those rabbit, because I can't even say it was one rabbit hole. The rabbit holes I went down, I'd rather me go down it and me relay it to moms than have all of us go down those rabbit holes
And that's the
because
thing. Some
I
people you just
I
really
can't
have
imagine
to have the
all of
gift,
us.
the patience, the time to do certain things. Everything is not
Facts.
everybody's niche, and that, like, especially when it's sensitive stuff,
No,
I research it. But when it's things that is just like too much, I just can't put my mind to it
yeah.
and do it.
And then
Yeah,
it's like you have so many different approaches as well. So you kind of have to like use discernment and be like, okay, so what is and what isn't? You know,
right.
what works
I,
for my
I
child?
did get
Because
overwhelmed
not the
because,
same
like,
thing.
my mom used to be sending me stuff, then used to see different stuff. I'm just like, oh my God, this is too much. Like, I don't even know
It's a
which
lot.
direction, how, what, where. Like, it's a lot for me. So I think my thing was
It's a
just
lot.
block it out initially and hope that.
Yeah. And then I mean, you have to give yourself grace as well because you were going through that literally when the world was at a standstill. So
Craziness.
you have to give yourself grace, because to handle this and then the unknown with
Yeah.
everything that
I
came
had
with
to wait
that, I
one
can't
whole
imagine.
year, a whole full year before she actually was, but in that time, some of the stuff that they said she wasn't doing, she did start doing. So I was just like, so at some points I was like hopeful, like, okay, maybe she just does things at a slower pace and it's really not that. Because as time went on, she started
Yeah,
doing little
yeah.
things like the eye contact and the
But sometimes
pointing.
that's
Yeah, so I
what
just
you do.
was like,
Like, look, some kids don't do it, and then the next year they just start doing it.
yep,
So it could have been. It just
yep.
turned out it wasn't. It could have been.
Yeah,
So
and
you
then we
weren't
went
wrong
through
for
that
thinking
phase
that.
where me and my husband used to be like, she's just going to start talking one day, like just out of nowhere. Because you're just,
Yeah.
it's possible.
And some kids do that
Yeah,
as well. Some kids
yeah.
actually really do. Like, I have a friend. Her daughter was nonverbal. She had two and her two. They both were nonverbal, and her daughter just turned 4 like last November. Oh, shut up now. Like, literally. No, no, she said it that way, not me. Won't argue with
Really.
her. Argues back and forth.
So
It's the
funny.
cutest thing. Yeah,
That's
but yeah, she was
what
not.
I was
Just
saying,
started
like earlier
talking.
before you got on the live. It's like, and it's so funny because I feel like like I was so nervous when she was going to kindergarten from daycare because I was so comfortable with her daycare staff. The lady there, she
Yeah.
also was like she had a whole bunch of certifications in dealing with children with autism and stuff like this. She was really good with her, and I noticed that. So she was leaving, I was very sad because I'm like, oh no, this is not going to be good because I know she doesn't like change, and once she likes somebody, she just if she doesn't, it's going to be a difficult time. But she really did
Yeah.
really good in kindergarten. Like I saw so much like changes
Good.
with her, and then we have like the speaking device. But like these last few days, I feel like I'm having a whole new experience of momhood all over it because it's like now she's
Oh,
expressing more emotions and connectivity. She's yeah, like
that's
now she's
good.
consistent when I go and pick her up and stuff. She says, "Mom," and she gives me a hug and she kisses me and everything like
Yeah.
consistently. Sometimes she suffocates me now in the house with all these hugs and kisses. Um, when
I love
I yell her name, she comes and goes, "Mom," because she knows I like it. She has recognized that I'm so about that. So now
Yeah,
that's her
yeah.
manipulative tactics. Now before we would just guess like she's in the house, maybe she want to do something, let's take her here, let's take her to the park, blah blah blah. Now it's like no, she is like the other day she came to me and she pulled me to the door and I'm like, what do you want to do? It's raining. Like it was raining for days, and again she was like, I'm tired of being in this house,
Yeah.
can we go outside? I said, where do you want to go? She's like,
Like,
to the pool. She just yelled it, to the pool, and I was like, well, we can't go to the pool, ma'am, it's raining. But it's like I'm just experiencing a whole different communicative side of her. So now it's just like, along with attitude, yeah, along with attitude, I'm catching that too.
okay. You
I
want
said,
emotion? We're
this
gonna
is
get
why they
emotion.
say
What
be
is it
careful what you
without?
ask for because when you get it, you don't know what to do. I literally told her to stop doing something, and
However,
she ran to the door to leave. I said, where you going? She is just transforming in front of my eyes, like repeating things. Like yesterday, I think I told her I loved her. She's like, I love you. Usually she doesn't say these things back. So it's like I haven't heard her say mom
oh my
consistently
god.
since she was 2 and 3 months old. So like it's real new, the consistency of it. Like she would say it sporadically, but for the last 2 months it's been like
Yeah,
more consistent.
it's been
But now it's like up on
okay.
arrival and greeting. As soon as I walk up, she goes, "Hi, mom." Like the other day, she said, "Hi, mom."
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
god.
it's like
I
a
love
whole
that.
different bridge that we're crossing, and I can feel her
Right.
emotions. I can feel her connecting with me. It's very different. Grateful, but
That
still
is
a process, of course.
that's
And
beautiful.
I actually did do the bath the other
Of
day
course.
with her. That's when she wanted to go swimming. So I said, okay, well, you're going to get in this tub. And we're gonna
You
do that. Yeah,
tried
I got the
it.
plastic coverings and stuff. I said, well, you're gonna get in this tub and fake swim while you're sitting in the tub.
Hey,
Because she was diving and everything else, okay?
no, that's
So
right.
I
She trying
did
to be
do it.
close. I was trying to
Yeah,
do it too. It
she
stopped
she
raining.
slept like a
She got
baby
the
that
clothes and
night. She
everything.
was
I'm like,
out.
True.
She fell asleep, just laid out. I was like, okay, good night.
Oh, she did.
But I did do it. Yeah, I did.
Oh my
I
God.
did.
That's good. That's
Yep.
good. I love
So where are you now in like the whole process of like what you're doing? How many people have you helped? How effective has it become? Like, do you get overwhelmed with doing it? Like, how do you feel? Because I know it's a lot. That's why people ask me, like, are you going to like make your platform more about? I can't because it's still an emotional process. So it's like I feed what I want to feed,
right.
and yeah,
I'm happy you said it's an emotional process because I'm still having to process my
yeah,
emotions while helping moms. I didn't want it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to. I wanted no parts. I've tried to quit numerous times. And every time I try, this is a moment of transparency right now. Every time I try, I have one mom or two or three that stand out and it's like, well, if it wasn't for you,
yeah,
this wouldn't have happened, this wouldn't have happened. And it all touches my heart because it never gets old hearing the stories. And it's just like you
yeah.
gotta suck it up and keep going. So right
No,
now,
I say yeah, yeah,
hmm?
I totally agree. That's how I feel, especially with personal training and stuff like that. I don't always feel like it most days, but it's the stories and the journeys that just always keep
Right.
me real
Going
back in.
right.
To wake up at 4 a.m. Let's go every
Ooh,
day.
yeah.
Yeah,
Heck no,
yep.
yeah. I love that. That's dedication. Though. If I had that, I'd be half my size and sexy. But okay. Uh, um, right now, it's blossoming. It's something I can't control.
Hmm.
I'm not even trying to control it anymore. I have a Telegram group. I think we're at 900 right now. 900. I can't even say just moms. I have a few dads and grandmas in there, as well. I have my TikTok. You see my TikTok. I literally people can't even message me on TikTok right now because my message request is full. So I'm glad I signed
Yeah,
in
because
because
when she
I
sent it
signed
to you, I
up
was like, girl, I
Instagram
don't
for
know how to work
kids.
this TikTok stuff. I just go on there, post and get off. Do she have an Instagram? I'll find her on Instagram.
Right here. I'm not as active on Instagram as I am on TikTok. Like I tell you, the TikTok algorithm,
Right.
more. I get to more
Hmm.
moms that way. But people are messaging me over here. I was trying to. So if you try to message me, I'm trying to get to them right now. I literally just signed back into TikTok after a few weeks. I mean Instagram after a few weeks. But it's just going crazy. I try my very best, and I have a small team, but a team
Hmm.
nonetheless. I have a moderator for TikTok because sometimes my
Yeah.
lives go crazy. I have in my Telegram group, I have two wonderful moms that's literally been there since the beginning, and that
Yeah.
means more to me than anything. Yeah, because they know
Those are
our
always the special,
approach
special
aligned. Um,
ones.
I oh, yeah. I know about their
Yeah.
kids. They know about mine. They like been. We just know. So they are running the Telegram. And it's like it's such a blessing when I
Hmm.
can just let them do them
Not have to worry
and
about
not have
it.
to worry and
Yeah.
not have because I'm very because like literally our goals align. Um, and so right now, that's what I'm working on is trying. Oh, and I have a Patreon. I always forget my Patreon.
Okay.
My Patreon is my baby. I forgot how many people have my Patreon, but that's really where I can become raw and unfiltered with the information.
Yeah.
TikTok, I have to filter it. Patreon is where I go and I post the real.
I have to
So
find
Patreon
you
is kind
on
of a
there.
little rabbit hole. So if you're ready for
I
that,
have to find
huh?
you on there. I don't have one, but I would have to find you on there. Hmm.
Yeah, it's real. With my patrons, they get so I have a detox guide that teaches you how to detox toddlers. So it's
Hmm.
different. It's not the same approach,
Right.
obviously, because they're toddlers. It's different doses, different things. I have a herb Bible with herbs aimed at autism and ADHD
Oh,
kids.
I have to get
Like
on there.
there's a million herbs out there, but herbs are definitely just for our kids. Um, I just posted a ebook for potty training autistic kids. So it's everything autism.
Send me
Everything that
your
you all
please
that
send
you
me your
need for a kid.
picture out there because when I share the live, I want to, include where they can find you and
Oh,
all this
perfect. Yeah,
information because
yeah, yeah.
we need help. We
Perfect.
all need help, and even
And
people that
and
do not have
I like
children with
to say
autism,
this.
I think, if I'm speaking
I
speaking for
haven't
myself.
few of
I
them.
was
I
very
have a few moms
educated
that
and
say,
very close
right?
to the whole topic of it.
I have a few moms that say, I don't have a child on the spectrum, but this information is so intriguing, or so like they're collecting information, and I really wish I was more proactive, but we're here now, so it's okay. Um, but hey, Shaka, ooh, but what was I was saying? So my pay, and that's in my Patreon. I post like, because you can get grants as autism moms. It's where I can get like real, and then I meet with the moms one on one, and I follow up with them. I'm very invested in their kids. So when you talk about moms that I've helped,
That's good.
I've lost count, but I'm gonna put it over. I'm gonna put it over 200 to date.
That's all. And you only started last year, you
It's
said, right? You started doing it.
literally
Cool.
last summer. And I didn't start like really like going live until like October, November last year. And it was a mom that she was like, do you ever go live? And I'm like, no, I just post and leave. She was like, well, you can't not go live when you're out here trying to save the world. And I'm just like, well, if you
No,
feel
that's
like
true because,
that,
like I
I'll go
said, for a
live.
while, I didn't want to talk about it at all. And I hate lies. I don't do lies. So I was just
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm struggling with this.
I'm
Yeah,
shy too.
I'm like, I'm
I,
struggling with
I
this.
did.
And I also want to get better with this. So I'm going to take the approach to free myself because, like I said, I wouldn't even talk about it. I wouldn't talk about it. I didn't want nobody to ask me about it, not even my mother. I didn't want to talk about it. Like, and she would be so persistent in wanting to share
Yeah.
information with me. Like, oh, I saw this herb doctor. She meant well, and she was sharing good information. I just didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it because I just felt like we didn't know yet for sure. So I'm just like, nothing's wrong with her. And every time it was brought up, it's like you're telling me something's wrong. So I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once I
Yeah.
finally,
Yeah. I,
broke down and admitted to myself how angry I was, how I really felt, I just, I just said everything transparently to my husband, how I felt about the whole thing. And I was like, even asking him, like, you don't feel like this? And he's just like, I do, but, I don't really let it really bother me. I try to think on the positive aspect, but it wasn't until I did that. And I was just like, the world is going to see her anyway. So what am I really protecting her from? You know, I just
yeah.
have to be honest with myself and just be open with what my reality is. And that's it. And
Yeah.
literally, the more open I became to talking about it and sharing it, the support, the understanding, like there were more people that understood more
And it's
than
usually how it works.
people that would like, it's just when you think of the world, you think of this dark place sometimes where people are just mean, right? So much that you often
Yeah.
forget that there are people that are more welcoming and open to what you have going on. And I think for me, it was more personal because I experienced, before knowing what was wrong, critique negatively, bad from family members, right? Just saying malicious
Mm,
things behind my back and things like that. So immediately I was just like guarded. It's just like, of course, I understood that they weren't educated enough to understand that it might have been something really wrong. So it was just like, just talking smack behind my back literally about my child. So I felt really guarded and I didn't want to go there. So it was just like now I gotta protect her from everybody.
yeah.
But I'm happy I
Yeah.
decided to do
Yeah.
it. And I literally just
I'm
went
happy.
live one day and just talked about it. Just talked about all my feelings, how I felt, my thought process, and even then it's still yeah. Yeah, that's what I did.
Mm,
I just had to.
mm-hmm.
Right. Just had to. But there was something you mentioned to me when we talked, a testing. What was the name of it? It started with an M or something like that. Say it again. It went out just now.
No problem.
CHFRG
MTHFRG
mutation. What
mutation.
is that? Can you share what that is?
So what it actually is way more than I make it seem. Let me say that, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to say the wrong thing. It's basically how the body breaks down. Hold on one second. How the body breaks down. I don't want to say the wrong thing now. It's how the body breaks down and convert. Okay, so the MTA, let me read, because I don't want to say the wrong thing. The MTHFR gene provides instructions for your body to make MTHFR protein, which helps your body to process folate. So your body needs the folate to make DNA. It's like it's kind of like because DNA is kind of like instructions that your body gives to like processes and organs and stuff like that to do different stuff. So if you are positive for this gene, then it kind of changes how
Right.
things work in your body.
That makes sense because she
In
literally
layman's terms, what
anything protein kind. She doesn't eat chicken, any type of meat or nothing.
a lot of our kids on the spectrum, oh, funny enough, I have it right here. Don't eat protein. Supplement with zinc. Sorry. It's not turning. Supplement with zinc. And literally, I just put this video out on TikTok the other day. And this is through my research, obviously. Mom just commented today, and she's like, "Hey, I've been doing this since last week, and my child just had some chicken."
Now, I will say this: when I did the bath Monday. Was it yesterday? Yesterday, I was eating chicken, but it was like fried crispy. She doesn't care for chicken at all, and she walked over to my plate and she like picked it up. No, she picked it up and she bit it, and I thought she was just gonna like spit it out and go by her business.
Oh, she bit it.
No, she came back and she kept biting and eating. I was like, did she just eat my chicken? Now, here's the part. I want her to eat, but I think I've been okay with not having to share my food all the time. So that was a little like was just in my plate. Just kept eating and she kept coming back. She not just the skin, she ate the meat part, everything. And I was just like, that's different. She doesn't do chicken at all.
Love that. I love
At
that.
all. So yeah, that was Tuesday.
Do a bath tomorrow. And tell me how it goes next week.
Where can I get that zinc like in the pharmacy anywhere like locally or?
Have I seen Mirror Roots locally? I'm not sure if I have. But you can definitely find like a zinc supplement. You don't have to use a supplement that I use. I use Mirror Roots. I mean, I get my stuff from Amazon.
So
I apologize.
any type of zinc.
But any like toddler, zinc supplement, she should be okay. Yeah. I try to stick to Mary Ruth. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. There you
go. So she wanted to come out here.
Okay.
But
what's your grandma? What's your grandma? He does not want to leave. So yeah, I would say I just try to stick to like one brand. But anyone you choose to be.
It's always when you want to do something, that's when they want to be. Oh, trust me, I know.
Always.
That's what they do. Come here.
Did you put? No, puppy, stop. Go. Okay. No, go show grandma.
What's you doing?
Where's your tablet?
They're at the house.
Stop. Stop. Baby, stop.
Now, has any one of the moms that you've helped like describe like for her thing is like strings. She has a crazy thing about strings. She will pull the thread out of something. She will pull any type of cord or string like that's her. Yeah.
That's her thing. Strings, not yet, but I do have a lot of moms with kids that, you know, they have their quirks. Hi. Oh, there she
hi. Is it hi? Say hi. Yeah, say hi.
Hi, cutie pie. Oh, yep. She got her string with her.
Say hi. No.
I'm gonna see if I can go live on TikTok to kill two with one stone.
There you go. Right. So I know when we talked, you mentioned about like a function, the difference between a functional doctor and a pediatrician. Can you either summarize, or even if you don't want to summarize it, just give some insight on that? What's the difference? How important it is? Do you recommend it? Because I actually talked to my dad and we were thinking about it.
Um, oh yeah. So, a functional doctor is a doctor, basically one who has like takes
Hmm.
a holistic approach. They try to uncover the root causes of different chronic illnesses and fix the
I
root cause.
hate TikTok. This why I don't like TikTok. As soon as you get on, it's just a whole bunch going on. Everything going on right there. But the whole
It's
different.
fine. Just like Facebook is a bad thing, TikTok is a your thing. It's fine. So yeah, I actually, funny enough, had a meeting with his functional doctor today. Um, but we also have we have to have a regular
Okay.
pediatrician.
Well,
So I'm planning to add a functional neurologist to his care team. As you can see, because mainstream medicine doesn't want him to have a
yeah,
neuroconsult because they
it's
don't think,
necessary.
it's right. So,
That's.
hey, y'all, hey. So I
I
really
think
do
it's wild
implore a
that for
lot of
something like
autistic,
autism, they wouldn't recommend like not just pharmaceutical
like
medicine, but
biochemistry.
like real natural remedies and herbs. And I just think because it has so much to do with like nerves and their DNA makeup and everything, that would make more sense to be that approach. But it's really ironic.
Right. Not everybody, because I think a lot of people still think of autism as like
No way
this.
around it. It's the end all be all once they're diagnosed. Because I think
Well,
that for
that
a little
too.
bit as
That,
well.
like, but a lot of people think it's just like the social. A lot of people think about the social aspect, like, oh, these kids can't function normal socially or in social settings. And that's oftentimes what it looks like, but the spectrum is so wide, like you can't determine that. Like, I know a lot of autistic kids that can socialize very well. My son plays with kids. He actually runs after them. He's one of the
Right.
few that socializes very well. So it's like, okay, so does this, now what are you trying to say, so I feel like it's been a lot more research over the years, but people are still
Hmm.
stuck on the information they had back in
Yeah.
this, and can't do anything. I'm not giving you this referral because I don't think you need it. Well, I'm gonna find a way around it. Hi.
So, with having the pediatrician and having a functional doctor, that's the way you have kind of been able to balance making sure that he's getting exactly what he needs.
Exactly. So the pediatrician for like
Yeah.
regular needs, he needed a physical for school. She does that. They do the routine lead test, like stuff like that. Anything routine,
Pediatrician.
that's what his regular pediatrician. His functional doctor is the one that's dealing with his autism traits and everything that comes with it. Because what a lot of people don't talk about is that autistic kids have a lot of medical issues as well. A lot of them get chronic ear infections. A lot of them have
You know,
eczema. A lot of them
she
have
did, for a
constipation.
little while we did notice it seemed like she has eczema when she was a little smaller.
Yeah,
Huh?
because they have so many toxins in their bodies. The toxins is trying to come out, so it manifests itself in the form of eczema trying to come through the skin. I wouldn't have connected the dots unless my functional doctor told me that. I'm just like,
Yeah, I would
well, that
never
makes
thought that.
sense because he had really,
Yeah.
yeah. And she broke it down. She probably broke it down better than I'm doing right now. But that's why I'm imploring moms to
Mhm.
go get a functional doctor and find somebody, because, like, say for instance, like with a pediatrician, she's 1 foot in the room, 1 foot out the room. She probably spends a total of 15 minutes with us each visit. The functional doctor, her intake was so extensive. We were there for like an hour and 15 minutes. Her first session with him, and she was now rushing us. She wanted to know everything about each family member, everything about my birthing story. Like, she has a file, like her intake form is so, you know, and um you just felt the sense that she wanted
Yeah.
to uncover like what was
So
going
she
on
knows
under the
what
surface
the
and not just
right,
slap a band-aid. And
which is very important because I think, you know, the natural normal approach is so like one way fits all type of thing. Is
exactly.
you know, it's like once they diagnose you, that's it. Just get a speech therapy, just get this, just get that. And then the amount of time that they even give these resources is not even enough. So I just feel like it's not enough. So that's
Exactly.
why when my girlfriend sent me your page, I just wanted to dig a little deeper to see. Now that I'm more open to it, because I'm not, like I said, my mom was trying to get me to, but I just didn't want to.
You
I
weren't
didn't
there.
want to. But now
You weren't there.
I'm seeing it and I'm
Yes.
understanding. It's just like it's not a one way fits all or works for every kid. Because I do see that there are kids that's
Exactly.
very different from her. Um, yeah, I just feel like it's much better with that.
Yeah.
So with everything that you do with your son, right? What are some of the? Because I know like tantrums, her tantrums can be bad. They're not all the time bad, but they can be bad. Um, what are some of the things like the the rough part that you have noticed like significant changes where you're not experiencing like the struggles with that?
I don't experience a lot of the stuff a lot of my moms that come to
Mm-hmm.
me talk about. And um I didn't realize until, like I told you, we went to Jamaica
Mm-hmm.
back in March, and we were there for 10 days, and he didn't get any of his supplements for the 10 days, and he was showing his little butt after. I was like, oh, absolutely not. I told my mom, I was like, I remember talking to my mom, I'm like, something is wrong. Something is terribly wrong. She's like, no, he's fine. He's fine. I'm like, something is wrong. Like, I'm looking at him like, whose child is this? So when I got him back in his regime and like, you know, stuff like that, then he mellowed out. And I'm just like, oh, now I understand what moms are talking about when they say, you know, when the kids fall out and when they have
Yeah,
like the
because
worst
sometimes it's
tantrums and
like
stuff like
they're
that. Like I was saying,
frustrated and it's not really a tantrum. It's just like they can't
yeah,
really.
why
Yeah.
they're frustrated, or if they can't communicate, they can't say, well,
Mhm.
mommy, my tummy hurts, or mommy, my head hurts. Like, you don't know. So it's like, and then I watched this, there's this video that went viral on TikTok. It was this guy, he's an adult now. He was nonverbal until he was like 6 or so, and he was explaining how it felt to be nonverbal autistic
Mhm.
for that long. And
Mhm.
it made me cry because the way he described it was like, I'm underwater, I'm trying to open
Yeah.
my mouth, I
It's crazy
can't
because I
open.
think I've seen that with her. Like the other day, she was like crying, and I asked her what was wrong. And for the first time, I think she was trying to respond to me, but I saw how difficult it was. It was almost like she
Yeah,
was like attempting to say something, but I could see the
yeah,
the strain of it not coming out.
cry.
It's like it was in her head, but she couldn't get it out. And I'm looking at her, and I
Yeah,
felt so like helpless, and I got a little emotional about it because I was just like, oh, like you're really trying to explain it to me, but I don't, it's not coming out.
can't. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
understand the frustration that comes with that. Um, but they have
Mm-hmm.
is ways to help it. Like, and I tell moms all the time, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, this is my child, and I have to accept this because it comes with autism. No, don't. No, you don't. There are ways to help them, and I'm not talking about
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about medicating your
Yeah, because I
kids
was
because I'm
definitely
definitely
against that.
against
When they
because
first told me, I said, I'm
it,
not doing any type of medicine.
yeah, and I think that was my hesitancy, like even talking to like his primary care physician about it, because it's kind of like I know I know their approach, and I'm like, I'm not with that. Like, you guys want these kids to be zombies so bad, just walking around out of their mind, you know, giving them meds to fix one issue and it
Yep,
creates like
that's
10
my
others. So I'm not
person.
doing that. But then you go in, yeah, you get into homeopathic meds, and you get into
Mm-hmm.
herbal medicine, talk to herbalists and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, well, when I came back, I was looking at different herbs that calm kids down, and I'm just like lemon balm,
Mm,
kava, ashwagandha. Those are herbs. Those are not medicine. It's literal herbs. And I was giving him lemon balm for like 2 to 3 weeks after we came back, and it actually helped me out a lot. I can stop now, and that's the thing. I don't need to keep going because
mhm,
now I have him back, to where I need him. But like those things can help. You don't have to watch your child like have these meltdowns and feel helpless. You
mhm,
can help your kids, and that's why in the beginning I said I don't facilitate autism. I'll never
mhm.
do it to make people comfortable. I'm
And
not doing it.
listen, I thank you for not facilitating it and having a completely different approach. Because
And it sounds bad. Like you see. Thank you. I promise you. Like if I had put this out there, they would have probably came from my neck. Not
yeah,
understanding what I'm trying to say is not. And I feel like when you hear stuff like that, it's kind of like, oh well, you don't
mhm,
accept it. It's not that I don't accept it. There's no girl that will love my
right,
child more than me.
exactly,
But I also not sit here watch him in pain and not do anything about it, especially when I know there's information out
exactly.
there that I can go
And
find.
not only that, it's just
And
like coming from a spiritual aspect as well. It's just like I don't accept what a man tells me, meaning doctors tell me, because at the end of the day, I just
right,
always believe that, the law has the final the final say anyway. So it's like it's just a matter of me doing the footwork. Like I said, I just put in the space, but it's just a matter of me doing the footwork, just like, you did the research, you did the time. I'm so sure with a lot of
yeah,
other things in this world, if we just took the time, did the research, there's nothing a doctor would be able to tell us. And this is full disclaimer. I'm not telling anybody not to listen to any doctor. I'm just saying it's not always the end all be all what they say. They are not God. They
exactly,
do not have all the answers, which is why they're continuously doing
exactly,
research and taking back their research
exactly,
and doing it over and saying this works and telling you it doesn't work.
exactly.
So, whereas in,
And you always know
mhm,
your kids
yeah,
better than them. Yes, they know textbook, and yes, they went to school for certain things, but you had your child. You know
yeah,
your child best.
yeah,
I always tell mom,
yeah, because
listen
there
to your
was
gut.
something that they were
They
saying, and I was just like,
have
no,
information,
I just think that's part of her personality, which I still see it, and that I do think it's part of her personality.
because a lot of it is a part of their personality, and I feel like a lot of it work against them in assessments because that's what I said. My son is going to ignore you up and down. He does not. And then it's funny because the same speech therapist in the assessment, she was like, "Oh, he doesn't respond to his name." Is the same one that came back and called his name, and he
Mhm.
side eyed her. She was like, oh, "Did you see?
Just do it all
He
the
side
time.
eyed me,"
And I
and
used
I
to
was
say,
like,
I even
"Oh,
told her when they
really?"
evaluated her one time, I said, she doesn't like people that much, I don't think. She's not big on crowds. She's not big on excitement. Because she'll do it to me. If she does something, I go crazy and start clapping and screaming. That's it. She's looking at me like, oh, yeah, that's the end of that. Like, I didn't, don't expect it again. Like, it's so funny. And it's just like, I think we forget that they're kids, but they're human. They're just more unapologetic than us as adults. We have conditioned ourselves to want to
Exactly.
please everybody. They are still in that mode of freedom where I don't care what you
I,
want. I
I
don't care
don't
what
care
your
about your
feelings saying. Like
man.
her, and it's the first time I've ever seen it because I've seen kids where you can bribe them. If she knows you're trying to get her to do something for a specific reason, like whenever they tried to do the toy thing to like evaluate her, she wasn't playing with the toy. Not happening. You could give her her favorite snack. You can give her favorite whatever. You cannot bribe her. She's not doing it because she doesn't want to do it. And I
Right.
used to laugh, and I'm just like, that I do feel is just a part of her personality, and it's the one thing that I don't try to eliminate from her. I want her to keep that very same
And why?
attitude and
Bless you.
mindset about life.
Funny. Sorry.
Why did it froze? Oh, there
Somebody
you go.
trying to call me. I'm sorry. I think it's my. Um, I thought Gabby, are you on my live trying to call me? Shaka said I'm not labeling my baby at all. I use autism just to get traction from other moms to say, hey, this is what I'm talking about. But I really don't consider him autistic,
Mhm,
at least not yet. Um, if ever his functional doctor has in her file developmental delayed. His pediatrician has
mhm.
developmental delayed. Um, and his IEP is just a developmental delay.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like a lot of our kids have these developmental delays, and they're being
Mhm.
lumped together as autism. So I want the moms out there to know that it does if your child has a developmental delay, it doesn't mean that they're on the spectrum. The spectrum it's a whole thing. Like I feel like you should go through like a real assessment and do like, have somebody be like, okay, so this is my finding and this is as a result. But like your child being speech delayed does not mean they're on the spectrum. Um Forgot why I wanted to say that and put it
Yeah,
out there. But yeah.
no, that's true because even when they told us, they're like, she's at level 2, and I remember me and my husband asking, so what does that mean? And they're like, it just means eventually she'll grow it out. And I'm just like, that's so weird to me because y'all say this like it's once you're diagnosed, it's the final diagnosis, right? But then you're telling me that eventually
Right.
she might just never have it again. And I'm just like, this is not like a cold. The way you guys talk about autism, it's not a cold. So for you to say eventually she'll just not have it anymore, it just always seemed a little weird to me and made me think there are different ways, definitely. And like you said, it's probably just developmental delay issues, not autism.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
He's like, I want it now. I think it's a thousand more IG. There you go. Came back. There we go.
I apologize. There's a
Yeah,
lot
to
going
me,
on.
I noticed that, but again, I was just too lazy to dig any deeper into it. But once that was said, it was just like, it's weird. How can she just outgrow something that you're saying it has something to do with genetics and all this other stuff? Because like I told you, they told me it's possible. Oh, if you have another kid, they'll be autistic too.
Right.
That's what
Right.
I was told. So I was like, okay, well, how's she gonna outgrow it if it's possible that it's just coming from both of us?
They don't know from their feet. I'm trying to tell you. Because I see contradictions all over. But like I said, like I don't fight it
Hmm.
anymore. I know what I know. And it's like, okay, well, if this is your approach, then okay. Because you're not going to change your belief. So, I just go another route.
Yeah. Just cool.
I just go another route. I wanted to answer some question real quick. Aisha, I'm glad you found a chiropractor. With the picky eaters, you want to detox. I always say when I started detoxing my son is when his palate started opening, and he started trying new foods. So if
Hmm.
you have a picky eater,
My
my
mom had
suggestion is
told she
detoxing.
had sent me something suggested that before, but I didn't know how to do it because see, my child, once she sees something that she is not familiar with, or you even come off like you're trying
Yeah,
to trick her and give her something different, oh no. It's not happening. Like I would
not
try to put it
happening.
in her
Yeah,
Pediasure. I think one time I tried to put something in her Pediasure, and I thought she
it's
wasn't paying me
different.
no attention. I looked over, and she's just like peeking at me at the side of her table like this. So when I gave it to her, she looked at it and just pushed it to the side like, mm-mm. I don't know what you put in
No,
there, but
thank
it's not
you. I
happening.
saw this TikTok. Excuse me, this TikTok of this mom. Her son is he eats macaroni and cheese every day, but he eats like the Kraft out of
He
like the
would
little
eat that
round container.
one,
And I
but
think
not the
they
box
changed.
one.
Right, they changed. So they changed or she got a different one. It was something, but it wasn't like completely off, but it was
Cheese
different.
notice is just a
Oh, you lost it.
little.
Lost
You can't switch nothing. Like I think what was it one time
it.
we were giving her
They're so
something and I think it wasn't smooth. Like she was okay with the juice, but then for one second it wasn't like smooth, and she tasted whatever was in there. And it was a wrap from there. Like we couldn't, so we had to be like so careful with her foods because she would never eat it again. Like she used to eat rice, and I think one time I gave her rice and it had like a little gravy on it.
Mhm.
Oh, she was done with it after that.
Well, I don't even like my
It was
food
just a
touch. Don't put right. Don't put
I
gravy on
didn't
my
even put
rice.
it on because I don't even like gravy, but it was just like a little bit
Don't,
on it, and she just was
don't do
like,
that.
nah.
So I know how she feels. Don't do that. Don't do that. And I'm kind of
You know,
weird, so
I
I
don't
feel
like
like
my
I don't
food
like
touch.
my
I don't
food
like
touch. I
gravy
don't like.
either. So then I was like, I must just be autistic too because I really don't like. I hate gravy.
Listen, listen. But funny enough, I have a goddaughter, right? She doesn't like her food touching either. She's now on the spectrum. She's a 3-year-old. She just doesn't like when it touches. She doesn't like when the
I'm
meatball touches
I'm the
food. And
Jamaican
I'm
that
just
will
like,
eat stew
that's
peas. If you
me.
know what stew peas is, it comes with a whole lot of sauce, and you gotta put it. I will eat that, and you have to put my stew peas very separate from the whole rice.
Oh, you
I
funny.
don't want it on it. My
I
mom
thought
used to
I
be
was
so
funny.
mad, like it's stew peas. I'm like, well, drain some of the. Don't. I don't want all the. I just want a little bit. That's it. Yeah, if I go and eat it out from a restaurant, I literally tell them to put it in separate because I know they can't really not let it touch so much in the box. I'm just like, put the stew peas in something
Right,
else and put the rice in
right.
something else and call it even.
She said she's Jamaican. Yeah, she's Jamaican. She's Jamaican. Her name on Instagram is Unapologetic Happiness LLC. She said my baby loves two piece too.
I love
My son
it.
used to eat it. He used to actually love
I
it, but
love it. I
he
just
don't
don't
mess
eat
with it
it
no
as
more.
much anymore because I can't eat the pork in it. So, and I just feel like it isn't.
Oh,
But
you
it just
ain't gotta mix
isn't
stew
right
peas with
without it, and
pork. You
I
sound
don't
like
eat
my
pork
mom.
anymore. So
You don't.
I've had it
You
though
don't.
without it, and
You
it's
don't have
fine. But it just doesn't feel the same.
get
Oh, I know.
turkey
And then
neck.
some people do it with the salt beef, and it's good. I like it with the salt beef. The salt beef.
Oh,
Hmm.
beef. Oh
It's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say some
I just
chicken foot.
haven't made it
Some
in a
chicken foot
while,
in there.
but yeah.
See, she said
I
chicken
hate
foot and
chicken
turkey
foot.
neck.
I don't like chicken
Exactly.
foot.
That's
Uh,
me.
it's just too
Oh, you don't like
much
I
bones
was
that I
gonna
gotta
say
be chewing up. I don't have time. I need meat.
that's
No,
the fun
I
part.
hate chicken foot.
That's the fun.
I'll eat it if I have a
That's the
choice, but I
fun
hate
part.
chicken
You
foot.
know, you. But I didn't think about beef. Beef. Said
It's
salt beef and chicken
good.
foot.
Yeah, it's good.
Ah.
Like
Man, child with the salt. With the look at me. I'm about to go back vegan.
yeah,
Talk about some beef and chicken foot, and I need to shut up. I had a
right.
conversation. I'm a mess.
So you
Mess. I
so
need to start doing with the
with
just
the
the peas
detox, right? I
and
want to ask them before I go. With the detox, right? And being as though it opens up his diet, do you have him like on a specific diet? Like, are there certain things you don't feed him? There's
yeah.
certain things you do give him. Is that word?
We
Okay.
gluten free,
Okay.
casein free
Gluten-free,
diet.
casein-free diet. Okay. Because it's like we were doing that when she was small and she would eat everything organic, no sugar, no nothing, sweet potatoes, all that stuff, but she stopped. So it's like now we have been subjected to giving
It's
her
hard to.
stuff that is not really like the only thing she'll eat now is pizza or like turkey bacon.
I mean, if okay. So the reason why a lot of functional doctors recommend the gluten free diet right off the bat is because gluten acts as an opiate in their brain. It's kind of like giving an elderly person morphine. That's how it reacts in their brain. Yeah. So just picture your child running around basically. I can't say this on TikTok. Okay. Let me try and rephrase it.
Hmm.
It reacts like a drug in their brain. So usually, like when you take kids off, take gluten out of their diet, they go through like a behavioral spiral, like bat shit, like they go crazy. But if you can make it through that period, I promise you, behaviorally, you ain't got no issues. And I think that's one of the major reasons I
Hmm.
don't have a lot of
Like
behavioral
so
issues with my
gluten
son
free and
because I
casein
remain
free.
gluten. But it's hard because I do have moms with kids like 5, 6, 7 that knows the difference between a regular bread and a gluten-free bread.
Oh
So
yeah,
how do
because she
those
loves
moms,
bread, and I
transition?
know if we
You know,
switch that bread, it's gonna be the girl start
it's a
to death.
wrap. Yeah, they know. So I actually have this book that I read. It's kind of like one of my go-to. I just shared the video too. It says partial breakdown of gluten from commonly used flours and casein from dairy into neurotransmitters act like opiates, morphine-like substances in our children's brains, right? Sometimes they make our kids drunk or stoned from the opiates, right? They can smell gluten
She knows.
when we can't smell it. They
You
can
know when you
find
switch
it.
certain stuff,
They
that's what we're
know.
thinking. Me and my husband right now, peanut butter and jelly was her thing. I don't know what happened. I don't know something that's changed in the peanut butter, but all of a sudden she refuses to eat it.
Try natural nut butter. Can you do that
That's
and
what
see
we
if she
said. We
does
might
that?
have to just try something different because she's just like, no. I'm like, what
Like an
happened?
almond
Because she would eat a peanut
butter or
butter
cashew
sandwich in
butter.
1 second. The moment you make it, the whole thing is gone. And lately she hasn't been eating it.
So what what happens after they go through, like, if they have like one food that they like a lot, 9 times out of 10 our picky eaters aren't going to be eating these same foods in like a year, so it causes leaky gut. And leaky gut is when okay, you have this one food. Okay, so let me break it down. So say like, okay, my son, he loves potatoes. He eats potatoes like every day, like literally every day. It gets to a point now where in the small intestines, it releases some chemical. I'm going to mess this up. I'm not even saying it right. Oh my God. It releases some chemical into the body, and it's like some hormones are just like, hold on, wait a minute. And then it starts leaking through the membranes where it's not supposed to leak through. So it either end up, they have like chronic diarrhea or chronic constipation. And oftentimes they build up, I forgot what it's called in their brain, and they won't want it. They'll like
Yeah,
cold
she just
turkey,
don't want it.
don't want to eat it.
Hasn't been eating it for like the last few weeks there. Don't want it.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's coming. What is that book? Healing and Preventing Autism by Jenny McCarthy and
Let me see.
Jerry
Put it up to the camera more so we can
Cartsinell.
see like the image. Okay.
No.
Nice. Hmm. Healing autism. Yeah, she has not been wanting it. And it's so crazy because that would like hold her. Because of course the peanut butter had the protein and she would eat it.
Right,
So
right,
now she's just hungry. She just constantly wants to
right.
be eating because she's not eating something like with
And
the.
she's not getting protein from her. But if with for the protein, I promise you, try to supplement with zinc, and see, and in conjunction with detox. Well, supplement with the zinc for her to be, for protein. But if you want her to like open up and start eating other things, I promise you, start doing the detox. The detox baths is like the safest way to start detoxing, because you don't need, like, it's not, like the other supplements that I use that probably needs a binder. You need to, well, you do have to make sure that you are hydrating properly when you're doing the detox baths, and all drainage pathways are open, meaning she needs to be having a bowel movement every day, because if you're detoxing and the toxins aren't leaving your body, what happens is they go back into the bloodstream, so they need to leave the body through either urine,
She does a
bowel
lot of
movement, or
that.
through
She
sweat
she
through your.
Bob and all she drinks is water. So
Good. That's good. So as long as you keep them hydrated and they're having constant bowel movements, at the very least
yeah,
one
she
every
has
day,
at
you're
least
good
one
to go.
a
That's a
day.
good way to start. But start small changes. I promise. Can you suggest any white chocolate, gluten free, dairy free? My daughter loves white chocolate. White chocolate, no, no casein free white chocolate that can come to my brain. No.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to ask right now, or if anyone else that's on the live have any questions. You guys can feel free to ask. Um, like,
Hey
yeah,
Tammy.
I
Hey boo.
definitely need your Patreon and everything because I would like to put it like in the comment section for people to know where they can go and get extensive information and like to reach out to you and have a follow-up or
No
conversation.
I can send you, because everything is in my bio in my link tree, so I can send you the links to your
Okay.
inbox. Um okay.
Yep.
Oh, Drill. Hey,
All
Drill.
right. So
Yeah.
before I think you covered a lot. Before we go, what is give us something to hold on to for all the moms out there with children that have autism, if your journey has just begun or if it's already began, but you have not, like myself, didn't know what to do, didn't want to approach it, didn't know how to approach it, and you're just now ready to deal with it, what would you say? How would you encourage them?
Oh
Uh-huh.
boy, it's hard because it's kind of like, what's your approach? It depends on what
Hmm.
your intention is. Because different people have different intentions on the journey. If your intention is to facilitate it, then I can help you with resources that, go see a developmental pediatrician, um, or neurologist, and have them point you into the direction. Start early intervention, stuff like that. If you want to go my route, then that's a completely different route. I suggest
Hmm.
finding a support group first and foremost of like-minded moms that have the same belief, because even though I'm helping a lot of moms, I still lean on the
I would
moms in my
definitely like
group.
to be a
Little do
part
they
of the.
know.
I do have
Little do
Telegram.
they
I would
know.
like to be a part. I meant to say it to you the other day. Tell me about it.
Of
Be a
course.
part of it.
So like I go in a group event and I'm just like, look, today this. Even on my lives, I
Hmm.
take notes from the moms. So just finding a group of moms with,
Hmm.
the same approach as you, because the information is
Yeah.
endless. I can't say go out there and find information because you overwhelm yourself. And an emotionally unstable mom is an emotionally
Yep.
unstable child. So we need you emotionally stable to even start this journey.
Hmm.
Study your child, because they're all different. Your child require a different, you know,
Right.
skill set than mine, and vice versa. So study your child, and don't let nobody tell you about your child. You know about your child. So get the information from whatever doctor, be it pediatrician, a functional doctor, MAPS doctor, whoever, a chiropractor, and then you then internalize it and discern and apply what is appropriate to
Mm.
your child. But make sure you have a support system. Meet your
Hmm.
husband, a best friend, a sibling, a friend, other autism moms, Facebook groups, Telegram groups, is TikTok communities. In your community, go to autistic centers, talk to other moms, but support first because you're gonna need it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, and I love that the facilitating. It's true. You definitely, and it's funny, even though it's two different things. Like when I get a new client, that is my question. I need you to identify what your intention is for the whole process. What do you
Mhm.
want? Because
Matters.
if you
It
just
matters.
want a
You
flat
can't
stomach and a
be
big butt, I
unintentionally
suggest you
intentional.
just go take the easier route. If you want
Yeah.
to, which I don't suggest it at all, but it's like if you're telling me that's your intention, then we're both going to waste each other's time because this is not going to happen overnight. So,
Right.
if
Right.
your intention is not
Exactly.
for a long haul, a journey, a lifestyle, then yeah, I'm not really a fit. So
Yeah.
that is important, guys. If you reach out to her or anywhere else you're looking to get your resource, ask yourself that question. What is your intention with your newfound reality? What do you plan to do? What do you really want to do? And be honest
Exactly.
with yourself because you don't want to take on an approach that you really cannot handle. Which is why I said I didn't dig down into researching because I did not want to drive myself crazy.
But you know your limits and you
Yeah,
stuck to it, and I can respect it because you don't know what could have happened if you went down that road and not be
yeah,
emotionally or mentally
yeah.
prepared.
Yeah,
You know.
that's why I always suggest people to be mindful. Be mindful with yourself. Be aware with yourself. Know yourself.
Thank you.
If you know what you can and can't handle, I always
Yeah.
say stuff like that in a joke, like, I know my lane, I stay in it. That ain't my twist, I ain't doing it. And I'm serious about stuff like that. If it's not my lane, I'm not doing it. Of course, yes, can I go do research and do it? Sure. But I have my lane. I have my niche. There are other people in the world that have their lanes, that have their niche, and they're meant to help other people as well. So I'm all for leaning into
Yeah.
people that is their lane. I don't need to take on everything in the
That,
world. That's just my.
yeah.
I don't need to take
Yeah.
on everything in the world.
That's for
It's too
real.
much.
Yeah.
It's too much. So I will
For
go
real.
seek the
For
help,
real.
just like people seek me for help. I will seek help where I need it.
Exactly.
And Yeah, I
I
just
like
think that should be
that.
the approach so that you can stay level-headed, sane. Just like they say, every genius was crazy. That's by taking in so much information.
Oh, and that.
They go crazy. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You overwhelm yourself and it becomes too much. So, yeah, I would suggest that you guys just be mindful, be open, be honest with yourself. Most importantly, just be patient. Be patient. Some days are harder.
That's key.
Some days I yell a little louder. Some days I'm more frustrated than others. Some days I feel bipolar because right after yelling, I'm hugging her. Right after wanting to pop her, then I want to cuddle with her. But
Right.
some days, that's why,
Yeah.
like you said, support. I have friends that in the moment would be like, what's happening. It's not like she wants to do this or, in that moment, this is just what it is. So just calm down. And, we need it. We're human. It's hard when you don't have the capacity to understand what the person is thinking or what they actually need in that moment. All you're hearing is the frustration. So
Exactly.
it's definitely hard. But I thank you so, so much for your time, all the information that you
Sure.
gave. And I definitely would be staying in
Of
contact with
course.
you, even off the air. But I definitely want to share this information so that people can, you know, open their minds to a new approach of what could be.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Nope.
love that.
So I hope that
I
that it was a
appreciate
pleasure.
it. This was my first
Instagram
you
Live.
know, well that too, but my first,
Oh,
basically feature
yeah,
having, asking questions and stuff like that. Yeah. I enjoyed
yeah.
it. I really
I enjoy
enjoyed it.
them a
Thank you.
lot. Thank you. And I look forward. And if anything in the future, I would definitely reach out to you because you can never have too much information.
Of course. Well, we have to talk because we're gonna talk
Yes.
about the woman stuff. Today was
What is
the
that?
kitty
Yeah, I
stuff. We
think I
gotta
do
do
want to
more
do a
kitty
live
stuff.
where we talk about that. I do want to. Let's see how your schedule is
No
because
problem.
that is also a big, big factor for us as women.
Yeah,
Very
most
important.
definitely.
Yes,
So we can
we will.
no
We
problem.
can. Sure will. So have a beautiful night, my dear. And don't forget to send me
Thank
the
you.
link because I want to put it in the caption and in my story. All
Will
right.
do.
Yeah, have a good
Will do.
night.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You have
Okay.
bye.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live. Have a good night. Assalamu alaikum. Feel free to DM me, comment on this video if you have any questions. I will be sharing her information that you guys can reach out to her. If you know anybody that has a child with autism that's struggling or needs help or resources, feel free to DM me, comment, or go directly to Miss Tabby. All right? Have a good night, guys. Assalamu alaikum.